Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to what is going to be a quick hello and catch up video because I've been working on getting my Perth videos up and ready to be posted on here, but they're not quite ready yet. I'm not quite happy with them yet, but they will be going up soon. And I also am going to do a bit of a Perth book haul. I was going to do it as part of my book lovers guide to Perth, but instead I had so much fun getting that video. It's going to be 2 videos instead, so I'm yet to post that, and the lighting's not great today, so I thought it was just perfect enough lighting for a quick catch-up video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the books that I'm reading, the books that I should be reading, and the books that I really want to get to. Now it's coming to the end of May and going into June, so this can be possibly seen as a June TBR, but let's get straight into it. Now, one that I am currently reading and loving and highly recommend, and I thoroughly thank you to Hachette for gifting me this copy because I didn't know that I needed it in my life until you sent it to me, and that is A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World. And this, like many post-apocalyptic stories, it's not a story of the apocalypse happening or surviving the apocalypse. The apocalypse happened. It's gone, it's done, the world has irrevocably changed. But this is about a boy who lives with his family in a remote island north of Scotland. They don't see many people, and this traveller comes along and tells them all these wonderful stories, but one morning they wake up and find that the traveller has indeed disappeared with one of his dogs, Chris's dogs. And so he decides that a dog is too precious of a companion in this far distant flung future to lose. So he decides to go after his dog, and the things that he finds out in the wide world, what's become of it, is amazing. Now the author does stipulate at the beginning that he would prefer no spoilers to be given out, so that's not really a spoiler, it's just the introduction, but it is an amazing read. The writing is brilliant and I highly recommend. Now I shouldn't be reading this, this is a pure pleasure read, but I can't help it because it is just so excellent right now. Next is a buddy read I'm reading with Doris and Kate Howe, and that is Matthew Shardlake, The Dark Fire by C.J. Sampson. This is the second book in the Matthew Shardlake series, and it is just so good. I don't usually read historical fiction set all the way back in the Tudor era, but his method of storytelling is really fabulous because you not only get very heavily descriptive scenes of cesspits and smells and all the things that you're just thinking, oh no thank you, but you also get a really interesting murder mystery, and then the politics, the Tudor politics that's being played out. It's just amazing. Matthew Shardlake's a lawyer, so you get 2 really interesting murder mysteries occurring in this, but then of course Thomas Cromwell comes back in and he basically ropes Shardlake into helping him again, even though Shardlake, after the first book, after the traumatic events of the first book, vowed never to work for him again. So I highly recommend. It is really thoroughly good so far and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am running a bit behind because this thing has taken over my reading brain, but I thoroughly recommend. Just try Dissolution, the first book in the Shardlake series. It is really good. So to books that I technically should be reading, that is the book club book, or my Sci-Fi Femmes book club book, that is The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders. So this one I know nothing about, but what sold me when we were choosing the books, and I put my hand up for this book, is that the planet is dying, so it doesn't rotate on its axis anymore. So one half the planet is solidly always in night and the other half is in day, but it's managed to survive in this situation. So it sounds brilliant. It sounds really interesting, very interesting to see where this goes, and I've heard many great things about Charlie Jane Anders books, so definitely want to support more female sci-fi writers. This one just came in and I'm definitely going to be reading it very soon because I read the first one during Aussie April, and that is Grass for His Pillow by Leanne Hearn. It follows on from the Across the Nightingale Floor, and that was such a complete story, but it left so much room for more and I want more. I totally want more from that series, and it's just going to be so fantastic. And this edition, you know, Yuki Shimizu's illustrations are stunning, so I will definitely read it just for the cover, but the story is fantastic as well, so I definitely recommend that. Alright, and the last one, which is a buddy read with Kate Howe that I've spent way too long on, mainly because I've been getting distracted, and that is A Stranger in Mayfair by Charles Finch. I haven't finished this yet, Kate, I'm so sorry. I'm nearly there, I promise, but it's a murder mystery. Charles Lennox is the main character. He's a really interesting and fabulous main character to follow, but I think this style of writing is a lot slower, and so I tend to read this and something else at the same time, but if I'm kind of wrapped up in the other writing, it tends to take over, so I need to dedicate time to finish this one. But whilst it's slower writing, it is beautifully and meticulously crafted. So I do recommend it, but yeah, I promise I'll get to this one, Kate. Okay, so lastly I have two books that I really want to read, and one of them was part of my Instagram picture I did recently for May, was to read The Gendered Brain by Gina Rippon. I really want to read a bit more non-fiction, at least every month I want to read 1 or 2 books of non-fiction, and The Gendered Brain is looking at how, I think I've discussed it on here before, but it's looking at how science and scientific fact can like debunk myths of how the female brain and psychology is completely different to the male brain, and therefore, you know, women can't do the same things as men in regards to intelligence and knowledge, which is obviously entirely untrue. But it's just interesting that these myths still are upheld in culture. In many cultures you don't even know you're doing it until it's kind of really pointed out. So I definitely really want to read this one because I just want to have that little bit of a non-fiction kick for May, or if not, early June. This is probably going to be an early June book at the moment. And lastly, it is Rumble Star by Albie Elphinstone. Now, I got gifted this one from Simon & Schuster because I read so many amazing middle grade and YA books leading up to Scribblers Festival. And they asked if I was interested, and this is about a young boy. He doesn't really want to go on adventures. He's pretty much happy where he is, but then he gets dragged into this other world, and then he suddenly has to help this person, and before he knows, he's on an adventure. So it feels very Hobbitish to me, but instead of like, you know, Bilbo running and saying I'm going on an adventure, this is a little boy who realizes suddenly he is on an adventure. So it sounds very sweet, and I'm just really happy to be able to read some more middle grade because I didn't realize how much I loved it until I started really investing into it. But yeah, so I'll let you know how I go with this one. Probably going to be, I say, a June read, but it is due for release in Australia on the 1st of July, so I'll let you know all my thoughts. Thankfully, I have time to read it in June. Okay, so that is what I'm currently reading, what I should be reading, and what I really want to read, but it's probably going to leak into my June TBR. So let me know down below what you're currently reading, or what you would like to be reading, or what you should be reading, and we can discuss all the lovely books down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!